everybody, and welcome to the One Postcast. Today's guest is Alex Donciu, also known as Lix. For some of you from Romania, he was a founding member, I guess, of the band Firma. So here is for you, Alex Donciu. Lix.
Hey everybody, good to be here, Marius. And yeah, founding member in a different lifetime of the band Firma. Ooh.
Yes. So, Alex, you've been in Canada for how many years now?
About 18 years at this point.
18 years, okay. So, what brought you to Canada? And because I understand you've been aware of Romanian country, you're not one of those guys which they have been concealed by the communist government. So you've been in and out of the country. You've been born in Romania, or you've been born outside? I think in South America you've been going through.
Well, I was born in Romania,
Yes.
but my dad is a career diplomat, so he was assigned to be a counselor for cultural affairs to our embassy in Brazil when I was 6 months old. So I spent the first 5 years of my life in Brazil, and by the time I came back, people got to make fun of me because I spoke better Portuguese than Romanian. So I did spend the first few years outside of the country. And the reason why I'm here is, like I like to say, Romania is a beautiful country, and the present company excluded. But too bad it's filled with Romanians. So that's why I'm here, I guess.
Okay. So when you came here, because the purpose of our podcast is to also to present people from diaspora, Romanians who've been especially in the arts, involved with the arts, like especially music, because it's my main interest.
Mm-hmm.
Also like painters, sculptors, writers, poets, and stuff like that. But since we both in some ways on the same wavelength, for those of you which are not in the know, we've been working together in a music store. That's how we met. Anyway, that's from another movie.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're going to introduce parts of it.
How
in
many
this one.
episodes are we going to do?
Yeah. And so it's as much for people, Canadians, to have an insight or what it was for us coming here and adapting and stuff like this,
Yeah.
as for people from Romania to know also. And also we're going to have some people, some Canadians, how they perceive us and as newcomers, whatever you want to call, immigrants and stuff like that. So for you, what was the incentive? Was musical, was artistic, was social, was all of the above? I understand that you've been already married when you got here.
Yeah, so it's I really can't complain because I was blessed in many aspects, and I still am. When I came here, it's not like I was like starving in Romania or anything like that. For better or worse, my then wife already had her apartment, so you could say we had an apartment, which I know it's like for some people in Romania nowadays, as people everywhere, it's kind of a big deal, buying a house, buying a place of your own, an apartment, condo, whatever it is. So I was in a fortunate situation already having something. We had a car as well, so it's not like, I mean, we could use her dad's car, my dad's car, so we had a car at our disposal if we needed one. I was part of a band, and I was used to put in the work because, to people that may not know, Firma had no sponsorships of any kind while I was part of the band. And we still managed to get a record deal. We produced a lot of our own video clips. We basically taught ourselves how to record both audio and video. I mean, mileage may vary. I'm sure that a professional looking at stuff that we're doing in 2001, looking at it in 2023, they're either going to think it's artsy or fartsy. But, you know, it got done, basically. So we got signed, but it was a lot of uphill battle with a lot of self-promotion, not making money on gigs, but we loved the music. And we ended up, like right before I decided to leave, we ended up being nominated for Best Romanian Act at the MTV Europe Awards. So while we didn't win, just the fact that, again, no sponsorships, no money basically invested in us, all an uphill battle, like we really made it through our own efforts basically. So it was very gratifying. But even at that, even having a job, having an apartment, being married, thinking that I know what I want to do for the rest of my life, having a band that I was really proud to be a part of, founding member, it was basically myself and Daniel Roca, who were like the main songwriters of the band and producers and arrangers.
The pushers,
the movers, yeah. The people that got everybody in line, explaining to the other band members, nobody's going to come and find you. You have to hustle. You have to go meet journalists. We have to do this. Doesn't matter how talented you are. There's grit and determination and perseverance involved. So despite all of that, which I'm still proud of all those accomplishments, I genuinely did not like the way, and if any Romanian takes this badly, you're welcome to take it badly, but that's how I feel. Doesn't mean it's the absolute truth. There's a lot of nepotism and a lot of corruption and a lot of things that once you want to go somewhere else, you think the grass is greener on the other side. And maybe we can circle back to this because it's not always the case. However, it's like, Canada, the States, oh my God, it's like, if ever one day. So I thought, to make this very long answer shorter one, I literally thought that there's nothing beyond the horizon. So the way that I was when I was 25, it's probably the way that I would have been when I'm 55 or 65. Still living in the same apartment, maybe with some kind of pension, playing in a band or not, doesn't matter. Like my life was already set, and while I enjoyed it then, I felt that I could do more. And I was looking for challenges and stuff that's earned, right? Even though my dad is a career diplomat, he never put in a good word for me anywhere. He's like probably one of the most honest people that I know. And I say this respectfully, Dad, if ever you're going to see this, borderline stupid. That's how honest he is. Like he's an anomaly in itself, because that's not the way most Romanians would, side deals and hustles.
Or politicians, for that matter.
Politicians, diplomats, and that's a whole can of worms that I don't know if we're gonna want to get into. But my dad, at the end of a very distinguished career where he became named ambassador, Romania's ambassador to Uruguay, and that's another story in itself. The only thing, literally, material that he has to show for is what people would call here a 3.5. So literally a 1-bedroom apartment. Nothing fancy. So if anybody ever thought that, there are no honest diplomats, well, he's a prime example that actually there are. I mean, I know one.
And that's what they're getting for being honest.
Yeah,
right?
so
okay.
Because he didn't have it in his nature to pull any strings for me, and I had zero interest in any strings being pulled for me or whatever. I was basically being in a band during the day, translating insurance market bulletins, because back then the insurance companies from the West had started coming into Romania, and big kahunas didn't speak Romanian. So they needed to know day in, day out what's going on. So they needed to know the news. So I was the person working for a local company, translating at night. So someone would pick up the newspapers at like 11 p.m. At the central train station before they would be sent to the provinces and whatnot. And they would bring it to the office. I would come in after midnight. I would translate until 6, 7 a.m., then go home. Deal with my thesis for my, what I was studying. I ended up getting a BA in letters and also being an active band member. Mm-hmm. So I had an interesting life. It's not but
that's why you're here.
Limited horizon. I felt that there was not a big opportunity for growth or different challenges unless I decided to live my life differently and become maybe a more crooked or opportunistic person. So I said, why not make the opportunity for myself? I'm not looking for a handout. And my then wife felt kind of the same way. Again, she's a very honest and forthcoming person. And we decided to move. And literally, we were one time, we were discussing in a park. We had printed all the documents for Australia and Canada, which are countries that generally welcome immigrants. Whereas if anybody wants to know how hard it is to get a visa for the States or to get a citizenship, I recommend you look up Mohammed Amer, a Palestinian dude that it took him like as a refugee 20 years to become a citizen. So there's a reason why we're looking at Australia and Canada. Okay, very funny guy,
And
by the way.
especially now,
Yeah,
too.
watch his specials on Netflix. But yeah, so
Thanks for the plug.
the US, yeah, he's a cool dude. So because the US was out of the cards, because obviously for any Romanian, I mean, we've been waiting for the Americans are coming for 50 years. For us, it's like this mythical idea of the US. Canada, the friendly neighbor to the north, seemed like a cool place. Montreal in particular seemed like an amazing cultural hub, and like anything from arts to cuisine to you name it, right? And Australia, I mean, unless you like flying, Jesus Christ, it's like a 15-hour straight flight. And I thought maybe I can do it. I will be, but like to go back regularly to see my parents and have my parents come, I'm like, my parents will never do that, never take that 12, 15-hour flight. So because it was closer to Europe, we ended up saying like, let's go to Canada instead of Australia. But the whole thought process was like, where could we go to have a not necessarily better, but a different life, more challenging life, filled with different opportunities, somewhere that we're removed from like the Romanian milieu and the way Romanians do things, for better or worse. So
And
we settled on Canada.
To cut you off. And what happened to you?
What happened to me? I
Bump
ended
into
up.
another Romanian.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like I said, and I have other really, really good Romanian friends. And again, it's not a reflection on Romanians at large. People that know a bit of like our history in Europe and still remember gypsies barbecuing swans on Lake Vienna and like
Yes.
all kinds of like thefts, and like in Germany, car thefts in Germany, rape in Italy, or you name it. Like there's all kinds of bad stuff done by Romanian citizens, and I'll just leave it at that because it doesn't matter who did it, they're Romanian citizens. It was striking to me to come here and find that Romanians have a really good reputation here of people that are honest and hard workers, and which was not that we're not honest or hard worker, because I mean, generalization are stupid to begin with, but it had not been my experience. Like when I was waiting for connecting flights in Europe, I have heard jokes at my expense, like, you know, like the kind of joke that maybe once it was a British dude, another time a Norwegian dude, like just looking at me going like, yo, watch your luggage, you know? I speak English, motherfucker, I understand what you're saying, you know, or like, don't shake his hand, you're gonna lose your watch. Which is nothing compared to like racial problems or inequality problems here. But I'm just saying, someone might look at us and go like, oh yeah, some, you know, random white dudes from Eastern European dudes. Like it depends the context that you're in. Yeah. And, you know, but I'm just saying, while I had a very easy and blessed life and so on and so forth, let's just say that coming here, the way that I was welcomed and approached by the people that lived here of any background was not what I necessarily expected based on what happened in Europe. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, there's stupid and racist people everywhere. We know that because, like, to seem smart right now, like Solzhenitsyn, I believe, said, the line of good and evil is not traced, I believe he said, on land, but crosses every human heart.
True.
So, you know, we're each accountable for our actions, the way we behave in the world. I'm just saying I've been sometimes on the receiving end of some like racist behavior from other people in Europe, less so here. I felt so, and also the reputations Romanians had here in general, right? It was completely different than what we had in Europe, even though we have like, I mean, Eliade, Ionescu, you know, people that are like...
Yeah, but sorry to cut you off. It's educated people, they know about Eliade, Ionescu and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not everybody is at that level of education. And also, my interpretation to that was because what we call roasted people, rotisați, not to call them by the name we call them. So right away, they see that you're not part of that. And for them to get to Canada, it's way further than to get to Paris. And it's just a business decision, in my opinion. Why go to Montreal when I can go to Vienna? and it's, is the same territory, hunting territory for me as a predator.
Because the goals are different.
Yeah.
Because I believe the same way that you came here to build a life, I came here to build a life. It wasn't make money and go back home, right? Whereas some other people that go in to do some petty crimes or like...
I'm not moving over there. I'm just going there for business.
Yeah.
And my business is stealing. So the investment, it's twice or three times as much for maybe the same results or less.
Yeah.
So
but that's a can of worms in itself.
Yeah, we go.
Because I know Romanians of all backgrounds, or I'm aware of Romanians of all backgrounds that might have been involved in some shit. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. But
predominantly though, okay. That's not the subject. So anyways, I did not want my life at 55 to look the same way that I looked at 25. I wanted more, and just because my then wife had an apartment, I did not want that to be like, I mean, it kind of felt like I didn't earn anything. It's already there. It's great. It's comfortable. It's convenient. I loved her family. They love me. I felt like they're like her mom, like my second mom. It was an amazing relationship. So I'm blessed on so many levels. I had amazing friends there as well in Romania. But maybe it was like a sort of restlessness. Can I do something else? Am I worth more? Can I give back more once I get more? Whatever that more is. That doesn't necessarily mean better. It's just like it's a different thing, right? You have one life, explore, live. Plus, in my mind, silly me, I thought, I'm going to go there, build a life for myself, buy a house, all that good stuff. And as soon as I have the Canadian passport, because I thought that's going to open the doors to the world, since I'm curious by nature, I thought, then we're going to explore the world. Stuff happened, so that didn't go as planned, but it was beautiful stuff though. So, lovely daughters and, some tragic stuff as well with my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, passing away. So it was a lot of first trips back were like we're going there because someone is suffering, then we're going there for whoever is left to meet the kids. I mean, the immigrant story, right? If your parents are not here, you're going to fly back to see them, or they're going to fly here to see you. Ooh, so original. But anyways, that was the plan. Come here, conquer Canada, and then conquer the world with a Canadian passport.
All right. So the main incentive, the main push, the main motivation for you was adventure, social...
and being my own person. And accomplishing something by myself in a different environment.
Personal question: how did because you have been a musician, was that part of your motivation, or was just a side line? Once you left, you said, "Well, a musician is behind me. It's gonna be a bonus after I'm achieving the social status goals and." Anchoring my family and stuff like that. So how was that working for you? Or how was that in your priority list? If you have a priority list, I don't know.
I did. Actually, the way we came to meet was like any immigrant. Initially, I said, I'll do anything that it takes. I'll stack, and that's not a condescending remark. It's just, I'm sure that nobody... when they're 5 or 6, if they're asked, what would you like to do? I'm sure nobody says, I want to stack, produce at Provigo or Maxi, or insert your preferred shop. I respect any job, and I've done a lot of jobs that some people might be put off by. Honest work is honest work. But I'm just saying, nobody grows up, I believe, thinking, oh my God, if ever I would be lucky enough to put, like the lemons over here and the cereals over there on a shelf. It doesn't seem like a very personally rewarding, creative kind of work. You do it because you have to. And if you like anything, if you do it well, props on you. But I was literally in the mindset of, let me do anything to get this done, to advance like our project, buy a home and whatnot. But I really had a strong interest in music. Now, unlike you, while I played live, it wasn't my main interest. And because of the politics of many bands, I was not in many bands, but just I was aware of because of practice pads and whatnot. And that's a whole other story of where we practice and how you do that in Romania. Because it's not like here where you could, well, it wasn't back then. You could rent a space and just like everybody welcomes the drummer that pounds that shit like a mother, you know, like, and like.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
That's interesting stuff because I don't know what is it anymore, and that
I don't know either.
You got it, but your period.
What do they say?
'cause my
Questions and
period
comments
your
below.
period, they're different, you know.
Yeah.
I left Romania in '82, and I was in a
2005.
what was back then a successful band, but it's a divagation right now. So what I wanted to know is how were the conditions? How did you practice? How
Okay.
did you get the band together? Because you have to practice as a band. You have to write songs. You have to do something. Was in your apartment? Was already through the internet? Was stuff like this? I think would be interesting. So
There were several places that we used. One of them, and this is because we had kind neighbors, and anybody who was in a rock band will know the drums are loud. Even if you're not in a rock band, you know that, and you know that you can get them less loud, and the drummer is gonna give you the fuck you look if you do it, but you still have to by stuffing shit inside it. So all kinds of rags and whatnot. Also, when you're an idiot like we were, you think that acoustic treatment equals soundproofing. It doesn't. So for a good time, in the apartment that my mom and dad now live and have been living for years, it was like basically it was scrapped and it needed to be renovated. So in that apartment, they were out of the country. And in that apartment, we used the now kitchen where my mom makes delicious meals. It literally, the kitchen had nothing in it because it was being renovated. So we just took the egg cardboard, cartons, whatever you call them, and we glued them to the wall. For anybody that doesn't know, the walls are made out of concrete. That was a surprise coming here, that not everything is made out of concrete. Like floor, walls, you name it, everything is freaking concrete in Romania. And no, we're not proud of it. We don't show it to say, oh my God, look at this, it's concrete, not wood, because everything is concrete. So anyways, we're so advanced. And so we glued like egg cartons, cardboard, whatever you call them, everywhere. And while it did improve the echo, it did fuck all for like the soundproofing, because that's not soundproofing.
No, it's
so
not. But it helps in it's more, I think it's more a kind of placebo.
Oh yeah, you're like, but like even the neighbors that visited, like the guy upstairs, really good guy, Mircea, thank you guy, and the lady downstairs, I forgot her name, really cool couple as well. They kind of put up with us, and we were like nice, polite young men, so we weren't like
doing that
we practiced inside an apartment for a month. That's where we ended up recording our first album. Also in the other room, there's now my mom and dad's bedroom. There's a lot of history there. Even the first video that we put out, there's one clip in the bathtub. Like anybody knows Firma la Orbire, where you see like stuff moving, bluish, whatever, and people in water that look like naked, but they weren't, because we, decency. So yeah, that was filmed in what is now my mom and dad's bathtub. I think the only room that we didn't take advantage of was we slept there. It's what's now their living room. So in a 3.5 apartment, the beginnings of Firma, were built.
Firma.
Yeah, and then we moved out of there. Like we did practice there. And we stayed there to record for many, many, many months. But we had a practice pad courtesy of a gentleman. I wish I would remember his name. But if I say Ferentari, from anybody in Romania, there's nothing glamorous that's going to come to mind. So yeah, it was a bad area in Bucharest. And there was this, God has a sick sense of humor, because we basically we were given, so from a tiny kitchen with fucking like eggshell cartons and whatnot, we were given this huge hall. We didn't know what to do with, but what I mean by huge is huge, like think like, I don't know, 200 feet long by 50 to 60 wide, a huge storage room, I guess, inside of a compound of a factory. And this is the best part of it. Fabrica de pile. Now, anybody that's Romanian knows what we mean by pile, because in English it's just file. It's a file factory, right? Files. But for us, pile means also something else, right? Connections, you know.
Yeah.
So we literally
Plugs, practically.
plugs. So we got a plug with the plug factory, if you will call it, but without knowing the dude. We were just hustling. We just went. We asked to speak to the manager. They let us in with security at the door because the guy was a huge rock fan. Like I didn't know you back then,
No.
but like he loves the band that you founded. So I'm just saying, like it was like he's a gentleman that was really into his vinyls and his rock, and he just happened to be a manager running the file factory, right? So we practiced there for a good long time. Summer, winter.
So universe provides.
Universe provides.
If you're ready.
Oh man, like I still have the strap. I had the Dare strap that I bought. Like I was counting my nickels and dimes to buy it in Romania. No locking strap locks because Romania, right? I remember playing with like gloves in like the winter, like the gloves the same that the SDF, like the homeless people have here, right? Not the fancy ones that are tactile for your cell phone, right? The shitty kind, okay?
Yeah.
So that we cut off because we were either in that hole and then we got moved to a place that had like a sort of like a huge, it's very hard to describe. Just think industrial, like industrial shit, right? And we were so lucky to have the space that it doesn't matter that it didn't have a window and we had to put a cloth or like some cardboard or whatnot. We were there sweating in the summer, freezing our asses off in the winter. We were practicing because that was what needed to be done.
Dedication to your craft.
On hi-fi speakers that my then father-in-law kept rewinding the bobbins because kids don't use hi-fi speakers to plug in your bass and your PA because they're, what's that again? Hi-fi fucking speakers. They're not like, you know, monitors for like a band. And if you pummel them, well, some wares are gonna get, as our Italian friends would say, cassette. So they need to be repaired. So a lot of memories there. Like, anyways, that's how we ended up practicing at the plug factory. And
you see that stuff which lots of people which they know the band, they have no clue about.
Maybe. And also it was a hassle just getting there because that's another, man, we're gonna be here for hours with all my stories. There was like Ferentari again is not like a high-end UP whatever neighborhood. There's a lot of people that make minimum wage or are on like what people call here BS, Bienet Social, so like on, what do you call it, unemployment benefits, welfare. So we basically had to take the bus to get there. And in Romania, unlike here in Montreal where you go and your little like Opus card, you just swipe it and you go in front of the driver. Well, there's like little machines on every post that you can, you know, hold on to, where you put like a little printed paper ticket and every bus will have a different combination. So you put it in, you pull, and then it gets perforated. And there's a certain series, like it could be 1 dot, 5 dots, whatnot. And then we have people that, like controllers, I guess you'd call it, inspectors, like for the public transit, that once in a blue moon, they would go in a bus, a tram, whatever. Yeah, we have trams too. And they would check and they would ask you for your ticket. So basically you can ride for free unless you get caught, okay? Not that any Romanian would ever think of doing that, God forbid. So we used to call this part of the city like the way we look at it is like, I have never seen anybody, other than a random person that didn't know how Ferentar was, ever pull out one of those paper tickets and try to do that. Because there are no inspectors in that side of the city. The only inspectors are the people inspecting your pockets, like the pickpockets, right? So it was a whole new world that we were exposed to. We got run down. We almost got into fights.
Kind of a ghetto.
It's kind of a ghetto, and someone would just sit in front of you and go like, yo, dude, what is that? That looks so cool. What is that? That's a speaker. My God, that's a good speaker. And then you kind of have to entertain the conversation because you don't want to get punched in the face. And then once that turned into us getting off really quickly, the other person, which there's always more than one, by the way, it's always like a small kid or like an adult that doesn't look too aggressive. And there's like the big guys are somewhere else in the bus.
The tough guys.
Just people visiting Romania. Don't think that you're just talking to that one person. That's a group usually, if they want to steal your shit. So we got run down several times. Like we literally ran from the bus to the entrance of the compound, and God, the security knew us, so they let us in. I mean, long hair. I had baggy pants, so I look kind of like a hip hop from here and rocker from here. I didn't shy away from fights, but I wasn't looking for them either. The problem was that even though I'm not a big guy, I was by far the biggest guy in my band. And again, I like to repeat that. I'm not a big guy. And I used to be like this, wired, like wiry, right? So if shit goes down, I know I can't count on anybody. I love those guys, but like I know that if a fight ever broke out, it's like run or you get your face bashed in, because
every man for himself.
Because I can't, there's none of them is a fighter, you know, they're lovers. So yeah, so quite an experience, and you learn through that. Like it's a whole process. It's not like when I chose to move here, it's not like I hadn't tried and explored and did projects in Romania like the band, or like I didn't know the place, or I was like grew up in a cocoon and I just assumed things as a certain way. I went into the world. We booked gigs. We took night trains, hush with like without paying, to go play a gig in Iași, or like, which is like 500 kilometers away from Bucharest. We were in all kinds of like weird situations, like any band starting out. And anybody that's in a band in a country like Romania will have lots of stories like that. When there's no money backing you, you have to make stuff happen. So you kind of put yourself in weird situations. Sometimes it works out for the best, like just hustle. A manager of a company goes like, sure, I have this empty hall. I'll give it to you for free. You guys are amazing. Oh, you like, what band? You like Compact? You like this? You like Phoenix? Me too. That's amazing. I love the same bands. Look at that. Metropole. Wow, amazing. And some other times you get run after by, you know, a few fuckers that want to steal your gear.
Yeah.
Or you have to hide from, you know, the people that are seeing if you have a ticket to that destination, because you don't, because you're there through the connection of someone else's connection that wants to play an opening gig for you, but they don't have money to pay for your train because it's not a legit kind of deal. You don't have money to like drink water. So basically, you know.
So I guess we get an idea and a picture of what was the situation when you left, your situation in particular.
We were in a better situation when I left.
Yeah.
Like we just got nominated. Everybody in my band knew that I was one of the main guys.
So you did a few steps.
We were still like practicing, and we went through like Camin Cultural, like there was like the cultural places from like communist times.
Like a culture house, like
where a lot of people that had more, you know, like they're higher up in the rock echelon, they would be able to rent a place. It's just we couldn't afford it for the longest time.
Yeah.
So we went to those places too. Our basement place that got flooded and smelled like mildew, and you know, good for pulmonary disease. If you're interested to catch on, go in a basement that smells like, you know, mildew and shit, and play there for hours. Yeah.
All right. So now you here in Canada, and how did you perceive Canada? How did you perceive